The elites employ a variety of techniques to shut down psychic dissent. The last thing they want is a human race endowed with superhuman abilities, which explains all the comic book nonsense in Hollywood, blaming everything on random mutation, which it's not. It's nature, or more precisely, supernature. The calcification of the pineal gland, or third eye, through various additives in food and water has made it a lot easier for the elites to dominate and downgrade the human race. But luckily there are ways around the problem, with several different methods to see beyond the veil and underneath the skin of the third dimension. Of course, the Cabal do their utmost to distract you, persistently drawing your attention to the banal and mundane. However, with a little patience, you can break their spell. If you could turn your eyes away from the screen for a moment and stare into mid-space, you should soon become aware of your peripheral field of vision. This reality demands your attention, your focus centered on the immediate future, and those who control it want you to remain in line with their narrative. Now, if you find yourself observing things that aren't there, if inanimate objects come to life, if shadows resemble animals and people, this is the one instance when the establishment will even dare allude to the power of imagination. The New Order, which is exactly the same as the old one, have all but destroyed ancient knowledge of the past, rebranding themselves as technocrats and scientists, debasing argument and vilifying intellectual enemies. Take the phenomena of pareidolia, for example. Seeing things that aren't there, faces in stains and clouds, shadows, even people. It is explained away as a trick of the eye, a mental aberration, yet another random quirk of inefficient nature, or at least that's what they'd have you believe. Misdirection is a favourite tactic of the oligarchy. Like a cheap Vegas magic act, they'll do their best to throw you off the scent. Anything to convince you that they have the power and you don't, which by the way, couldn't be further from the truth. The elites even capitalise upon the paranoia that they induced with the concept of pareidolia, planting subliminal images in everything from corporate logos to cartoons. If the establishment can't see it or feel it, it isn't there. In other words, seeing is not believing. Any natural talent for higher senses is further undermined by the education system and the workplace. Limited problem-solving abilities are one thing, but mentally deconstructing reality has no place in modern society. It's more efficient and profitable to class those who question the nature of reality as lunatics. Even if you believe that what I'm about to tell you is only my imagination, that's still something the elites cannot muster. Their minds possess no stream of consciousness, their thoughts are formulated, their ambitions simplistic, their plan of action delegated to underlings. As far as I can tell, the elites aren't capable of doing anything for themselves. It's why they invented money, so they can buy people and pay them with promises that can never be kept. Banknotes used to promise the bearer that they could retrieve the equivalent value in gold, but they soon put a stop to that. Now money is debt. The more you can afford, the richer you become. Fortunately, there are some things that can only be learnt and not bought, including psychic ability. Nevertheless, the elite will throw billions at replicating the impossible to find artificial alternatives. But few, if any, of the Cabal could ever achieve the level of success exhibited by a gifted organic. The process of Pareidolian time travel is deceptively simple, but it has its limitations. Firstly, it is geolocated, as in wherever you are, that is the place where you will witness different times. Secondly, and others may have more luck, but I don't seem to be able to control the time to which I travel. If anything, that place in another time comes to me. Developing your peripheral vision is not a physical process. Do not strain the muscles of your eyes. Instead, relax and stare into mid-space. Perhaps half close your eyes if you feel the room too bright. Now imagine yourself moving backwards, just a few inches at first. We are not aiming for anything visual here. It is simply a feeling of greater presence, like a body of energy, far bigger than your own. From experience, I would say my peripheral field extends to around 15 feet in diameter. However, it may vary from person to person. Mental focus is a big stumbling block for many. Patience is a virtue. Not everything needs to be brought to the center of your attention. It's like letting a movie run in the background and being aware of everything but the fine detail. If you ever experience a shiver down your back like electricity, and you know it isn't a breeze or any other external stimulus, try not to shake it off. Let it run through your spine. It's a gift, more energy from the source, transmitted from outside this linear timeline. To expand one's peripheral field, one needs to learn to move one's consciousness without moving one's body. In a funny way, you do have eyes in the back of your head. So many can feel when somebody's looking at them, even if they can't see who. Developing peripheral acuity is merely taking the process one stage further. There is a point when you will reach the limit of your peripheral field. This is where reality begins to blur. At the bleeding edge of colour and form hovers a rippling ring of light, fuzzy, distorted like an old TV signal. This is as far as you can take the process while remaining fully conscious in your body. The very centre of your consciousness is situated in the here and now. As you head further out into the peripheral field, you begin travelling through time. For myself, it always seems to be the past. In the beginning, I thought it might be ghosts. I have witnessed many, but this is something very different. The other night, I was turning off a lamp when in the half-light, I spied an animal rushing by. I assumed it was one of my cats and sat down on the rug and reached out my hand. It stepped forward into a shaft of moonlight. It looked like a nervous deer, tottering on its hooves. It glared at me for a moment before rushing away into the gloom. It wasn't an isolated event. I've seen whole branches of various trees, grass instead of floorboards, butterflies, and even fields outside the window. So many different images from other times, but all in the same place. It seems that before 1820, my local neighbourhood did not exist. In fact, it was mainly woods and fields. This is what I keep seeing. Trees, birds, animals, all running wild long ago. And I think they can see me. If you'd like to travel through time, then understand that pareidolia is a gift, not a curse. What you see has been shown to you for a reason. Only you can fathom what that reason is. Only you know.